What's up, everybody? I'm Rerouted. Today I'm locked in with someone I think is like one of the toughest rising producers and someone I've had the pleasure to work with a lot recently, my boy TMajor.
Let's get it, man.
I appreciate you making the time,
For
bro.
sure. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. So I feel like we're both super under the radar, so I want to start from the beginning. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Rancho Cucamonga, IE area. Moved around a little bit, Fontana. I was in Bloomington for a while, and then I ended in Rancho so far. So
All out here though, all in like California?
yeah, Cali for sure. Yeah.
How far is that from like LA roughly?
It's about an hour. Yeah, a little
Okay.
hour, maybe a little bit over, depending on where exactly you're coming from. But it's definitely an hour for sure.
And what was Rancho like? That sounds a little, just based on the name, that sounds a little like, just like, not like the city. It sounds very rural.
It's definitely a city. It's definitely, we got like
Okay.
Victoria Gardens and stuff over there. So
Okay.
everybody be, Victoria Gardens and Ontario Mills is like probably the closest two malls that people might know in
bet.
Rancho and or just IE in general. For
Okay.
sure.
What was your upbringing like? Were you into sports at all? Were you into music at all?
I was into sports. I was into sports a little bit like in my elementary and middle school and stuff like that, but it was never really like my thing. Like, you know, everybody has like they niche, like they thing that they know they like. And then when I was around like 13, music was kind of like, it's always been around me. Cause my mom she's a barber and she like a celebrity barber. So she's always cutting like a lot of celebrities. So I've always been around the music and I've been around the artists.
Okay.
And my dad was like a DJ and producer and stuff as well.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like I was always like destined to do music in a way. I just didn't know how it was gonna happen or what I was gonna do. But yeah, it ended up just being producing. And the way it kind of started was like, I was on the way home with my mom from LA. She had just cut one of her clients or whatever. And we were on the way home and we were listening to Travis Scott's Days Before Rodeo mixtape. And like, it just hit me, like something hit me. And it was just like, I kind of, you know, Travis's production in general is crazy. And so to me, like hearing that for the first time, it was nothing that I've really heard before. I know a lot of people grew up like on Kanye and listening to his production and all that stuff, but for me, it was Travis.
I mean, in a way though, you kind of did essentially grow up on Kanye too, because of all of Kanye's influence on Travis.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
So,
I agree.
But the music was kind of in your veins almost.
Yeah.
You kind of grew up with it, that like, what's the word? Subconsciously, like, in your own mind.
Right.
Before we get into like how you transitioned into music, what do you have any cool stories growing up or like anything that you could share, just being around everything that your parents were doing?
Yeah, it was kind of just being able to meet all these people and like meet all these people that even today, like a lot of people we know. I don't want to name everybody, but it's definitely like, it was dope being around all these people. Like ended up being around like a bunch of like football stars and just a lot of celebrities. So that's why like it kind of shaped me to kind of like be around all these artists and be able to be comfortable and be myself around them because I've always been around it.
Right.
You feel me?
Right. So you said your dad was a DJ. What was he kind of spinning and like what music were you listening to growing up?
It was a lot of like.
And if not to cut you off, what stage of your life was this? Was this like 5 to 10 teens? What?
Yeah, this was young me. Like when I was like around, like with my dad doing all his stuff, like it was young. I was probably like, he's been doing it my whole life, but me being around it, I was probably like anywhere from like 7 to like 11, 12.
Okay.
For sure, yeah.
I'm not sure if you answered it, but what were you listening to?
So a lot of Prince, a lot of like hard like rap music like Black Thought, and you know like LL Cool J, like all these artists, like all the artists that you would think a dad would listen to is the ones that my dad was listening to and spinning for sure. Yeah.
And what did he like DJ in clubs or like parties or?
So when I was with him, he wasn't really DJing in clubs. It was more like at like parties and you know, stuff like that.
Where?
Yeah, because he does like audio, he has like audio equipment and sells audio equipment and rents it out and stuff like that. So he's always been around it. So yeah, he kind of just, he been doing it for a long time.
Besides the listening part, do you feel like, did he teach you any of it when he was doing it, or did you like, oh, these are turntables, this is how you do this and that?
Yeah, he definitely taught me a lot of it for sure. Like, obviously I'm not like super fluent in it, but it's something I could definitely pick up.
Right.
It wouldn't be hard.
But I'm sure, of course, like you're not a DJ, but some of the, I'm sure there's similar elements in some way or another, I would imagine. Maybe I'm wrong, but. And then at what point did like you start to maybe like, all right, I can try this. I'm gonna give this a shot and try producing on my own?
Well, it really was when I had told my mom I wanted to start producing. Like her being around all that for so long, she took it like super serious. She took it more serious than I felt when I told her it. So she took it upon herself to kind of like help me get the stuff I need to get started. So I had like a really old Mac that I was using, and I started with a keyboard, like a keyboard that one of her friends had that they just like were never using. And it was like a MIDI keyboard, so I was able to plug it into my computer and just start, you know, just messing around, doing different stuff, trying different things. And it kind of was like, it was hard at first. You know, people say like YouTube University, that's really what I was doing. Like
okay,
YouTube is definitely the way to go, because you learn so much off YouTube that people pay for. You really don't even need to pay for that. So
I feel like when you told her you wanted to be a producer, so, like she's been around so many different people. She's heard so many different stories. She's seen so many different come ups, and like I feel like that's why she might have taken it so serious, is because, you know, she sees that as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas like a traditional type of parent would just kind of brush it off, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
That mindset isn't there. But
yeah, exactly.
That's dope that you had the support from your family at the beginning.
Yeah, I know that's something not a lot of people have. So I'm for sure grateful for that. Definitely.
When you first started, what DAW were you using?
So when I got my that computer that I had, the old Mac, the battery ended up frying in it. So I ended up like trying to get a new one or whatever, and I went with my mom to cut Big Sean at his house or whatever, and that was her first time telling him like that I wanted to produce, like seriously. And he was hearing some of the stuff I was making. Like she would show him, like obviously, like you know, when you a proud mom, like you want to show your stuff off. So she was showing him like a lot of my work, and to me, like it was trash. Like I wasn't, hell nah. But she ended up showing him, and he just thought it was crazy. Like he started showing the other people that was in his house and all this other stuff. And before before we left his house, he literally handed me like $1,000 cash to get like a brand new laptop, to get all the stuff I need to get to really start going in. And he told me that Ableton is probably like, it's gonna be like the next big thing. Like you should get Ableton and all this stuff. So I started on Ableton, and then to answer your question, I was on Ableton, and then it was really confusing. Ableton to me is super confusing to use. I know a lot of people use it for like live instruments and stuff like that, but at the time I wasn't really playing like no live instruments or nothing. So I was kind of just doing what I can on Ableton, and then I found out about FL. And so that's when I transitioned to FL and started trying it, and I fell in love with it since then, for sure.
You kind of just answered it, but is one DAW better for one thing than another? Is Ableton better for live instruments versus another, or is there a right or wrong answer to like a producer getting started?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's like whatever you're comfortable with, really. Like I know a lot of people who started on Logic. I know a lot of people who started on Ableton. I know a lot of people that use FL. But I would say for sure, like the live instruments, I see a lot of people using Ableton for, and like a lot of the trap producers and even like R&B producers and stuff, they use FL as well. So FL is definitely like the way to go if you like a trap producer or anything like that, for sure.
Where was your mindset at as far as the vision you had? Did you were you a tight beats producer? Were you trying to find loops? What kind of vision did you have at that time when you first started? Because I know you said you were just messing around, but like.
So when I first started, I really was just on YouTube a lot, and I was remaking a lot of the stuff that people were making on there. So that's kind of how I like started learning how people do things and how to build your own melodies from scratch instead of using loops. Like I knew a lot of people were using loops and stuff, but I feel like that's what's gonna set you apart, is being able to do your own stuff. Like you don't want to be in a session with an artist and they want to do something from scratch and you can't do it. So that's why it's like you gotta learn how to do everything, in my opinion.
How'd you go about getting some artists on your beats at first? Was there like a music scene in Rancho? Were you tapping in with artists in LA, or what was your thought process?
Really, I wasn't even really tapping in with nobody. I'm like super introverted already as it is, so people knew that I made beats, but like I never really was asking people like, oh, you want beats, because then I feel like that's when people start wanting stuff for free, and it's like you can't ask somebody like, oh, will you use my beat? You want to use my beats? Because they're gonna expect it for free. So like later on when you do try to charge them or whatever, they look at you crazy.
I feel like maybe, but I feel like for producers who are just starting out, that's the way to go. To build credibility, get some placements, get some artists on your songs.
Yeah.
I mean, on your beats.
Yeah, I agree. That kind of was just, for me, that's just not the way that I went with it. I had like friends and stuff that were doing YouTube and stuff, so I would give my beats to them to use for like their intros and outros, and sooner or later they started asking me for beats for themselves, like to start, and then like recommending me to their friends and stuff like that. So yeah.
I want to give this a spotlight because regardless of how many artists I've been at the studio with, you and Jay's way of working, I've never seen it before. I've heard of it happening, but I've never witnessed it.
Yeah.
Where he'll kind of just tell you what type of beat he wants or what type of vibe he's looking for.
Yeah.
And you cook it on the spot.
Oh yeah.
And then 15 minutes later, he's recording on it.
Yeah.
I find that super crazy.
No, I love working like that. That's like, I feel like that's the best way to work, and that's also the best way to grow with an artist. Like you hear a lot of people saying to find, like, you got to find an artist to lock in with. Like you see like Gunna and Turbo.
True.
You see like all these artists and producer duos that just start going crazy.
Facts.
And it's because they lock in with a producer and they lock in with somebody that knows their sound.
Facts.
And that could evolve their sound. And that's what I feel like is the hardest part for people. Like you got to be open-minded when it comes to making stuff for an artist, especially if it's like they want something completely different than what y'all usually are making. You got to be able to do it, and that's how the sound is going to evolve. Because at the end of the day, you don't really know what people like, and you don't know what's going to resonate with people until you try it. So that's kind of like where we at right now. We really just trying everything, and we're gonna see what sticks for sure.
At least with him, do you feel like it gives you like a greater sense of freedom because of how like versatile he is? Because I feel like a lot of the stuff you guys do is super different from one another. So do you feel like that helps you get better too, just because of like you can really,
for sure,
you know, you're not sticking to one sound. It's not repetitive. You're really kind of making a lot of different type of stuff.
No, for sure. It's definitely, his versatility is definitely like a breath of fresh air, because you find a lot of artists that are like stagnant and they do the same type of music. They got the same sound on every song that they do sound the same. Like me and him kind of have a mutual mindset in that sense. Like we don't want to make everything sound the same. Like you don't want to get repetitive to people, because that's when people just stop listening. So staying versatile and being able to be versatile is a big thing for sure.
At what point did you start to see like your first glimpse of success? It doesn't have to be like monetary or whatever, but to where you really saw that like I can do this and people are taking it serious and fucking with it and I can keep going with this.
It really was. So, crazy story. I'm really big into like gaming. Like I've been a gamer like my whole life.
You should stream. Do you stream?
I used to stream. And
it's time to, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I'm for sure gonna try to get back on that, definitely. But I used to play with like, so there's this streamer or this YouTuber I used to watch named Chino Alpha Wolf, and he was always around like DDG and like, you know, all these, like his whole clique. Like you probably seen him before, but
Sure.
He was always around them. And I was in Chino's stream one day. He was streaming playing Fortnite or something like that. And I had just commented, and he was saying that he needed like people to play with or whatever. So I commented and was like, I'll join. And he was like playing with viewers or something like that. So I ended up joining, and we was going crazy, like, cause me being a gamer, like I'm already super good at games. So the people he was trying to play with or that he was playing with just wasn't
Wasn't
good.
it? Yeah.
Yeah. So me playing, we just started taking dub after dub, and then like since then, like he added me, and we've been playing for like a while, like a really long time. And then sooner or later, I ended up playing with like Dub and DDG and stuff like that. So I was on their squad, just like playing all of us together. We was all playing, and I was always the one on the team that they would like look for to carry or clutch at the end of the game or something like that. So DDG ended up following me on Twitter.
Tough.
Around that time, and he knew that I made beats or whatever, but it was never something that he probably took serious at first. And then if I remember right, I remember telling him like that I make beats and that like I want to send him some stuff like whenever. And I think I had DM'd him that on Twitter after he followed me. And I ended up sending him some stuff, and he ended up using it. He ended up using one and dropping it. It's a song called Well Off. And people loved it. I had like producers and a bunch of people hitting me up after that, like asking for beats, asking if they could send me loops, like all kinds of stuff like that. So me and DDG were kind of locked in for a minute, and I was at the homie house one day, and he hit me out of nowhere and was like, I need some Pain stuff, like a Pain type beat or whatever, just send some Pain stuff. And I was like, bet. So I pulled out my computer, started working on some stuff and sent it over, and then he ended up dropping it like the next month.
Dope.
So that was definitely like an exciting moment for me.
First placement?
Yeah, the Well Off one was my first placement, like my first
major placement?
Major placement, yeah, I guess you could say.
What do you think of Plaque Boy Max and what he's doing with artists now, and as far as how he's taking streaming?
I think it's crazy. I think it's innovative. I think that's like the new wave for sure. Mm-hmm. I could definitely see a lot of people might try to bite that in a way, but I don't think anybody could really do it on the scale that Max is doing it.
For sure.
Just because like there's a lot of artists that go in there and you might think that they popping, and then they do a song on there and now they really popping. So it's like, it's definitely like blowing a lot of artists up and helping a lot of artists out in that sense. Like it's becoming a thing for him. So that's dope to see from him for sure.
I feel like it gives like fans a different perspective as to how an artist like works, because they hear the final product, but they don't know like the recording process and how it even works. But he's really just giving them a whole different view of the whole creative process.
Because you get to see like how all these artists work differently.
Yeah.
Like not every artist is the same. Some artists like to record with the lights off, like Jay, for example. Like a lot of artists like to record like turned up or like high or whatever. Like it's every artist is different. So it's dope to give people a glimpse of that, to let them see that and stuff like that. So yeah, it's dope. It's definitely dope.
For producers who are at the beginning of their career and they're trying to get some placements.
Yeah.
We all have a little bit of luck, but how would you recommend them getting their beats out to people? Just nonstop DM spamming, or? I
would say reach out to their team, to be honest. Like reach out to their engineers, find their producers even, like people that like I feel like it's easier nowadays because a lot of people are using loops. So if you know how to make loops and you just start making a bunch of loops and send them out to their producers, more than likely they're gonna end up using one at least.
Right.
And just locking in with them that way, I feel like it's probably the easiest way right now. Obviously, I didn't really go that route. I definitely went like every direction you could possibly try to go. Like I even tried the YouTube type beats way, but I feel like it's too easy for people to steal off of there. Like it's not.
It's oversaturated too. There's a million YouTube producers.
There's a billion beats on there, a billion type beats on there. Like it's too much. You gotta stand out, and it's hard to do that if you posting type beats on YouTube, in my opinion.
if you starting to like work with labels and get in touch with labels, are there any do's or don'ts as far as how they work and what not to do with a label? Because I'm sure there was like a moment where you were like, I wish I knew this before I did this. Maybe not, but
As far as
just like giving away rights to a song or just like anything to do with the.
oh yeah,
you know
for
what I mean?
As far as speaking with a label directly, I don't really speak with a label directly, but even like doing songs with people and then being signed to a label, like I was kind of naive to that whole thing. Like I didn't really know how it worked. So giving a beat to somebody and then them using it, I didn't really know how to negotiate. I didn't know how to ask like, how much are you paying me? I didn't know how to do none of that. So that was definitely something I wish I knew a little better, was being able to negotiate that stuff. But I feel like also, especially if you first starting out, like you kind of want to give artists or even somebody that's about to, like a major artist, like a free beat, like just so you could get your name out there. Like that's the hardest part for sure. So
Top 5 favorite producers.
I would say Mike Dean, Wheezy, Metro, Turbo, and damn.
One more.
Yeah, it's hard. And these are in no particular order, but damn, I don't know who the 5th one is. That's kind of scary.
Maybe you can do one more and then some honorable mentions or something.
Shit, I'll throw myself on there.
Say less, yeah. I'll take it, bro.
For sure.
I'll take it 100%. Do you feel like the variety of music you listened to growing up helped you have a more diverse ear when it came to producing?
Definitely. Travis, listening to Travis, like, bro, it's the sounds and the way he structures his songs, like, it's so different. Like, so it kind of definitely shaped my ear to be able to make stuff that people aren't used to hearing, like, and using different sounds that people aren't usually using. Like, it's hard to, and still make it like still have like a hard bounce to it. Like, you want people to be nodding their head. You want to keep them on their toes. Like, that's the hard part for people, is like, they get repetitive as far as like the beat goes. Like, you got to every 4, 8 bars, like, you got to switch it up every time. Like, you can't keep it the same. A lot of people do that, and I notice it, and it just kind of, for me, like, it's hard to hear like that. Like, hard to hear beats that are repetitive for me, because I wish I could go in and just change this or move this. Like, that's just how I've always been. But shit, it be working for sure.
Maybe Travis is your answer to this question, but who do you think utilizes like production the best? Because there's a difference between like making records and then just like rhyming on a beat.
Yeah.
Who do you think utilizes production the best, or has the best production?
Really, so Travis is definitely one of them. I would even say Drake. Drake does a really good job at that too. Who else does it? Obviously, Ye, for sure. His whole Vultures albums is crazy. I think those are like my main 3 that really do it the best.
This is a genuine question, not even on no type of like any weird type of time, but what do you like think of the shit that Kanye be on? Like, because I'll speak like for myself as a consumer, I feel like it's just a little exhausting, and it tarnishes his legacy a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's just me.
I could see that. Obviously, like, I don't agree with all the stuff he be saying.
No,
but,
of course.
At the end of the day, like, we really don't ever know what people are going through. So I kind of just stay in my own lane. I don't say nothing about it or nothing like that. So
For sure.
Yeah, I just leave it at what it is.
Who is your favorite person that you've been in the studio with or worked with, or maybe who your favorite person to produce for?
My favorite person to produce for? Probably Jay.
Dope.
Yeah, I love working with Jay, because he also, he asks for stuff, but he also listens a lot too.
That's great.
So like as far as input on my end, like he'll take the input and he'll even use the input. But I know a lot of artists kind of don't like to hear what other people have to say about their song or whatever. Like I feel like the main thing is like transparency and communication when it comes to making good music. Like you gotta have good communication when it comes to that, and not sound like a hater or not sound like a certain way, you know?
I agree with that. I feel like I've heard he's like he'll just ask the room like what you guys thinking of this and stuff,
Right.
and I think it's always dope to take like constructive criticism.
Yeah, you got to.
Because I heard a quote one time. It's like the artist, I forget the context of it, but the artist essentially has to separate themselves from the music because they're not making it for themselves.
Right.
I mean, I guess it's like a tough topic, I guess, but like they are, but they're not. Because at the end of the day, they're selling it to the consumer.
Exactly.
So, but I like that. I like that he takes, feedback.
Yeah, he takes it well for sure.
Yeah. How long you been locked in with him?
We've known each other for a minute now. At Traplantic, that's where we were. That's where we met at, and I did one song with him then, but that was just me like giving him beats. Like that was my first time meeting him, so I just played him some stuff, and he ended up using one of them. It wasn't really like the sound that he usually goes for. Obviously, like your first time meeting somebody, you gotta learn their sound.
Sure.
Especially if you don't listen to that artist like that. Like
sure.
You gotta learn their sound. So I played some stuff, and it wasn't like his wave. So he ended up just playing me some of his music so I could kind of learn it.
Dope.
And then I played him some stuff after that, and like all the trap stuff and stuff that I had was like too fast for the type of music he was making back then. So I just went in and slowed like one of them down, and then he ended up hopping on that one. And then like ever since then we didn't work. We didn't work for a minute after that. But I would always see him like around the studio whenever I would pull up or whatever. Like I would always see him. And he would tell me like, you gotta come play me some shit, like stuff like that. I ended up never playing nothing like that really, because I was working at the time. Like I was working in a different room with somebody else, so I couldn't just go in there and play stuff at that time. But then we got to this studio that we'd be going to now, and it kind of like reconnected. We kind of reconnected again. I would see him. I wouldn't be really working with him like that, but I would see him a lot. So
small world.
Yeah, so I would talk to him here and there, play him some stuff here and there. And then around like, I want to say like late July last year, 2024, we kind of started locking back in. I was still just playing beats for him though. Like we weren't really making stuff like from scratch like that, but I was kind of just playing stuff for him. And then he started using like more and more of my beats. And then we had did that song with, I'm not gonna say her name, but we did a song with somebody, and she kind of.
Is it on the new project?
Yeah.
On the whiteboard?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So she kind of introduced, like a sound that she kind of wanted to do with Jay, like really on some. And it was really on like a Travis Scott type of vibe, which is crazy. It comes like full circle like that. But,
yeah, true.
That's the kind of sound that she wanted to go for, and it was a lot of trial and error that night too, for sure, because we was working on stuff. She wasn't feeling it. We would work on another one. She wasn't feeling it, and then we got to this one that I had cooked up that like she started like she knew instantly, like it hit her. Dope. And it hit Jay as well. They kind of both like knew it as soon as they heard it, and they ended up cutting it, and it just sounded like a huge song. Like it sounded like a really big song. Dope. And since then, me and Jay been doing stuff from scratch. After that, like everything we've done is from scratch. So I forever am grateful for what she did that night, because that definitely made a difference for sure.
Dope. You excited for that project to come out?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm excited for people to hear it, because it ain't nothing like he's did before, and it's nothing like they've heard from me either.
It's probably super personal for you because you've been able to see his growth, and you've played such a hands-on role. Yeah. Opposed to, just sending something out, and there's less attachment to it, I feel
Definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Any dream placements? Anybody that you really want to get on a record with in the future?
I really want to work with Tizo. Tizo Touchdown.
Yep.
I want Don Toliver is probably one of my main ones. Like, he probably at the top of the list. That's the main person I really want to lock in with.
I feel like that's super tangible. Like
super.
Like 100%.
Yeah, Don Toliver for sure. I love Don Toliver. His like all his music. He kind of like right now he hitting for me like Travis was hitting for me back then. Like it's like that for me right now. Like all his music I listen to, all of it. And I would say Drake too. I definitely want to work with Drake.
For sure.
That's definitely one of the artists I want to work with too. Been listening to it my whole life, so.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? Yeah.
I just want to talk about a few people real quick and just kind of your, just how maybe they've impacted you career-wise, personally, whatever the case may be. We can start with Dallas because I feel as though he speaks of you highly and he sees a lot in you.
Yeah.
So like what impact does he had on you and your career personally?
He's definitely had an impact, especially like as far as like bringing me artists and reaching out to me when he has artists in town. Like, it's definitely something that has helped me and also makes me more versatile to be able to work with everybody that he has on his roster. So
yeah,
I'm definitely grateful for Dallas for sure.
And what about Game? Because like I would imagine, I'm assuming, but living out here and growing up out here, that must have been kind of surreal.
Oh yeah, that's big. That's super big. He a legend for sure, especially out here. Like everybody know who the Game is. So being able to be around him and be in sessions with him is crazy. It's definitely surreal.
Dope.
Not a lot of people get that opportunity. So
yeah, fire.
Yeah, for sure.
What's next for you? The rest of the year.
Man, keep getting music out. That's the main thing. I want to keep getting music out. I want to keep my name and my tag in people's ears. Like, people gotta know who TMajor is and who TMajor is, like what he is. Like, I feel like it's a hard thing for people to get out there. Man, we definitely been working a lot this past year. So now it's time for this music to start dropping. So I'm excited, super excited.
What else you want people to know about TMajor?
That TMajor is versatile, man. TMajor is gonna be one of the biggest producers one day, for sure.
100%.
Huge.
Nah, I appreciate it, bro.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.
It's all love, bro. I'm glad we locked in. It's dope seeing y'all work.
Definitely.
I'm excited for the future, bro.
Me too,
Let's
man.
keep doing this shit, bro.
Yes,
I appreciate
bro.
you.
Appreciate you. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good.
I think that was perfect.
Solid.
What you think,
TMajor, you cooked this one up too.